with the stories. Welcome into the Bro Force Squad podcast. Thank you guys for checking us out. We are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. This is episode 52. I'm your host, Jeff Hornacek. Before we get into all of our movie banter today, let's go around and meet the fellow bros with me. We go first in the lab to the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Brian, I think that you accidentally CC'd me on a really vulgar email that you meant to send to your State Farm agent. What's going on?
I was just asking Jared. I just don't understand why they're not going to cover my shed being burnt down, because I may or may not have burnt it down.
Yeah, Jared, the first thing he's going to ask is, were you smoking in the shed again?
I can't deny nor say that I wasn't.
All right. Those are kind of the same thing.
I mean that I was.
And of course, the man who's here to keep us all in check, our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger. Matt, I saw that you were selling a chainsaw on Craigslist with the description, definitely didn't use it to murder my neighbor last June. You got any nibbles?
Not too many. If you need to know, the chain was red before I bought it. I swear to God. And if there wasn't a red spot on it, it's just ketchup.
Yeah, I can vouch for him. We did an experiment.
I don't know why anyone else would need any more reassurance than that, because I'm about to go see if the price is leveled out. I might have to hit you up and make a fucking bid on it. So, if you guys have not listened to our show before, thanks for checking us out. And if you have, then you know that we start every show off with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chest day. So, our chest day today, it's mid-August 2018 when we're recording this, so we have roughly 4.5 months left. Do the math until the end of 2018 when we'll all be popping bottles at New Year's Eve, ringing in 2019 blacked out drunk. So this is kind of that time that people consider the dog days at the end of summer, and people tend to claim that movie releases basically suck from now until Christmas. So what we wanted to do today was a fun little exercise and to tell those people to basically fuck off. And each of us are going to try and find a movie in one of the next 4 months that we're very excited to see, or that we can make a case that you should go out to the theater and see. And as kind of is always the case, of course, we talk about the big fucking movies on this podcast all the time. But I think there's going to be some movies on here that if you either haven't heard of, maybe you kind of forgot that they were coming out this year, or maybe it's one you're like, oh, wow, I'm kind of interested in that, because I personally found a lot on this list that I either didn't know about or that I had forgotten was still coming out in 2018. So we will start with September. Banner, what is a movie in September that you were excited to see?
White Boy Rick.
You want to pitch us or just tell us the name of it?
I was just waiting for like, oh, what's that, Banner? I'm really excited to hear about this.
How shitty the podcast would be if we just said the movie and we're like, all right, next month.
Yeah, our neo-Nazi fans were like, yeah, sounds okay. Okay, Banner pitched me on it.
This is something we are interested in.
Basically, if you've seen Blow or any of those Pablo Escobar movies, any of those movies about the kind of the drug lords and the true stories of people selling drugs in the 60s, 70s, 80s, this is going to be right up your alley. This is about a kid that, I believe it was in Detroit, was selling cocaine at the age of 15 to kind of take care of his family, and he was called White Boy Rick. And because obviously he was the only white boy around in the 80s that sold cocaine in that neighborhood, and how kind of his rise to power, and how at 15 years old he became a drug lord, and then he turned to an FBI informant very quickly after that and put a lot of people in jail. And it's very similar to a Blow. It's got Matthew McConaughey in it, and you know that's my boy, so I'm really excited about it. But it seems very similar to Blow, so I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be really good. If you haven't seen the trailers, you should definitely check it out. It's one of those comedy crime movies that's based on a true story. I'm sure they're going to embellish at some point, which I'm okay with.
When I saw the trailer, I said, this is McConaughey's annual pitch for an Oscar nom, basically, as the broken down father. I don't know. He gets emotional in the trailer.
He's got a shot at it, an outside shot at it. I mean, it comes out in September, so probably not, because if it came out in December, then yeah, he's in. But not in September. What do you got, Geiger?
I have The Nun. And if any of you know Matt Geiger personally, you know that I really love movies where people get brutally fucking murdered. And my wife's a preacher's daughter. So it has something for both of us to go on a fun date night.
Oh my God, that's so fucked up, dude.
Jesus Christ. He's not wrong, though.
No, that's what's even more fucked up about it.
Though. September's actually pretty weak, I think. But that's the one I guess if I had to go to, I'd pick that one.
There's a movie called Lizzie that I just am pretending it's the Lizzie McGuire sequel.
I saw that and I almost picked it and made another, like a really bad joke similar to that. But Geiger's right. September is slim pickings, to be totally honest with you at home. The movie that I picked, I actually didn't even know about until today, but now I am kind of interested in. It's called The Old Man and the Gun. It is an American crime comedy film, and based on everything I'm reading, it sounds like Catch Me If You Can. It's based on a true story of a man named Forrest Tucker, who was a career criminal and prison escape artist. And it stars Robert Redford, Casey Affleck, Elizabeth Moss, and Danny Glover.
Fuck yeah. If it's got Danny Glover in it, I'm in. What about some angels in the outfield?
Yeah, I'm sure he's playing the same character. I'm guessing based on what Robert Redford is Forrest Tucker, so he is the escape artist guy. I would have preferred Casey Affleck in that role. But obviously, depending on what time period in his life all the cool shit happened, it must make more sense for Robert Redford. One thing I am concerned about is the director of the film, Forrest Tucker. Although he is from Dallas, Texas, where Matt Geiger and I reside, his filmography does not contain, let's just say, any movies that I like or have seen.
That's on you.
Pete's Dragon is the highlight, so I'm a little concerned.
Jeff, when's that de-aging movie come out with De Niro and Pesci and all that? Is that September?
The Irishman? I'm not sure. I think it's later in the year than that, but
okay.
That's a good honorable mention if none of us.
Yeah, I know. Whenever that comes out, we'll pick that one too. Okay, on to November.
Okay. Well, October actually. Geiger, we'll go right back to you. What do you got?
October is when Halloween is, so I'm gonna pick Halloween.
Yeah,
you have to.
I wanted to pick that, but I wanted to give it.
I've been talking about this movie for a while. I really want to see it with Cycly. I know you and Cycly, Jeff and Cycly are horror guys, but I'm a big Halloween fan. I've seen every movie. Actually, the first two Halloweens I think are fantastically done. I think Halloween H2O, if you haven't seen that in a while, go back and rewatch that. I'm really interested. I know they're going to shit all over the story and basically act. It's going to be Jurassic World. They're going to act like all the shitty ones didn't happen. I'm actually fine with that. I'll look past that just to maybe get, a glimpse of kind of what John Carpenter did back in the 70s. But I'm really, really interested in that for sure.
Yeah, based on the trailer too, it seems like they are getting back to the roots of the series, and I wouldn't mind seeing Michael Myers chained up to a cinder block and the threat of murdering everyone else on screen. Banner, October.
I just saw that Danny McBride did the screenplay for that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I don't think it's going to be... Like, when I first read that about a year ago, I was like, oh, are they going to make it like a joke? But apparently, from everything I've read, he's just a huge fan of the franchise and, obviously has filmmaking ability, so I wouldn't read too much into that.
Well, speaking of joke, I'm going to go for my October movie, Johnny English Strikes Back. Say what you will, they're funny.
They're making another Johnny English. The world demanded that we get another Johnny English.
They made more than one?
Yeah, I think this is the third or fourth one.
Jesus.
How many fucking sequels are called Strikes Back?
Only the good ones.
That should be just illegal to use that.
I mean, guys, if you don't tell me you don't like the Johnny English movies.
Who's Johnny English again?
It's the guy who says cock doggies in Rat Race, Rowan Atkinson.
Okay.
He plays like a bumbling secret agent who trips over.
I know kind of what the premise is. I can't remember
It's like a parody of James Bond. It's like a comedy James Bond kind of movies.
We've seen that before and done better, but go on.
Hours, yeah.
It's fine. It's fine, guys. Fuck you guys. I'm excited for it. It's going to be awesome.
I will give that a chance, but it's also the type of movie I could see myself 20 minutes in being like, what have we done?
There's no chance I'm paying money to go see it, but I'm still going to see it in October. You do the math.
I will do the math. My movie is one that Geiger and I both had talked about. I'm actually really excited for this film. Bad Times at the El Royale. Written and directed by Drew Goddard, who did Cloverfield and also season 1 of Daredevil on Netflix, if you've ever seen that. Incredible cast: Jeff Bridges, Dakota Johnson, John Hamm, Chris Hemsworth, Nick Offerman. And the plot is, in the late 1960s, 7 strangers end up at the El Royale Motel, and they start to realize that each other might not be who they claim they are, and people start to get murdered. So October 12th, God, that's already 2 fucking horror thriller movies that I cannot fucking wait for. And if you haven't seen the trailer for it, I think it's a little spoilery, so maybe actually stay away.
I don't know. I just watched it before we got on, and it was fantastic. You should definitely see it.
Geiger, I'd be careful if you watch the trailer, because it reveals one pretty big thing about one character that I was kind of mad about.
Okay, well, all right, cool.
All right, on to November, my birth month.
Mine as well, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Cool.
Yeah.
Go on.
Am I going first?
Yeah.
I demand it.
I've got first of all, I just want to start with November is a stacked month. Out of all the months that we're talking about, can we all agree this is definitely the best month out of all of them?
I think our best picture is in November this year.
I think it's very possible. For me, I think I'm going to go Bohemian Rhapsody. Growing up with my dad and my mom, just listening to Queen on road trips is one of my best memories. So Bohemian Rhapsody, hearing that story and just watching the trailer where they kind of mesh 3 or 4 of their songs together, so fucking cool. I think that movie's going to be really, really good and a lot of fun. But I also have to say Fantastic Beasts, Crimes Against Grindelwald, mainly for Cycly. Me and him are both huge Harry Potter fans. This is bringing us back to the Wizarding World, and we're going to see Hogwarts again, which fuck you too. I know you guys know nothing about that, but Cycly knows what I'm talking about, and I think a lot of our fans do too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to get back to the Wizarding community and see what else that franchise has to offer.
Geiger and I are definitely going to fuck with Bohemian Rhapsody. I cannot say the same for Fantastic Beasts, but to those that enjoy it, to each their own. Geiger, what do you got?
I guess I'll pick Creed 2. I'm actually I loved Creed. I did. The premise of Creed 2 is the stupidest fucking thing ever. It'd be like Magic and Larry Bird both have sons that both play basketball, that both get into the NBA at the same time, and both play for the Celtics and Lakers. It makes no fucking sense that he's going to fight the Russian son. It's going to be stupid, but the boxing scenes are really cool. Michael B. Jordan's great. He'll get in awesome shape for it. I'm more looking forward to the boxing scenes, not the story. Or Stallone still, hey, I'm trying to act. I'm playing this role for the 8th time. So other than that, I'm very excited for that movie. But the whole storyline, I know I'm going to be pissed whenever I leave.
You're excited for Dolph Lundgren, right?
Yeah,
of course Dolph will be in there.
He's so. How did they get him to convince him to come back for that?
I'm just give him a lot of heroin.
I think that's his Expendables character. You're getting him confused with.
Well, he already had some heroin. They offered him a lot. He's like, okay, well,
he's like, wow, that's a lot more than I currently have. So that's kind of. I'm just worried that Ryan Coogler isn't back. Obviously, he directed Black Panther, so he couldn't do it, and I think they kind of caught lightning in a bottle with the first one. The title too is weird, Creed 2. Like I just thought that was the makeshift title until they called it something else. But I guess we're going to regular season and the bright lights with Creed 2 as the title.
We should just call it Creed also.
More Creed.
More Creed.
Creed again.
Creed
or
again.
Or with arms wide open, under the sunlight. Get it, like the band?
Yeah.
It wasn't that funny.
Ha. My movie for November is a movie called Overlord. This is a J.J. Abrams Bad Robot production. On the surface, you're going to be like, why the fuck do you like that? It's a dark, twisted movie, sort of in like the... I don't want to say it's sci-fi-ish. It's basically if the Nazis had the ability to use zombies in World War II. But 2 reasons why I'm excited to see it. Number 1, Banner and mine's favorite person on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ian DeCasticker, is in it, who plays Fitz. And number 2, and I know this has been debunked by some people, but there has been a prevailing rumor for the better part of half a year that this is secretly a Cloverfield film. And until the credits roll and it's not connected to the Cloverfield franchise, I still have an inkling that it might be. So from that standpoint, that is why I picked Overlord for my film in November. That's probably the low reward, high risk, which is not a stock that anyone ever buys, but for some reason I'm doing it here.
Real quick, before we go on to December, though, let's just name a few other movies that are coming out in November that we didn't name. Wreck-It Ralph 2, Robin Hood. That's all I got.
Okay, Geiger, go.
You got to see the new trailer for it.
No, listen, Geiger, I had shit all over Robin Hood. I was rolling my eyes. I went to see a movie this week, which I'll get to in Protein Shake, and the new trailer played for it. And even my whole theater was like, well, what the fuck? That actually looks really good now. So go see the new trailer for it. I think it'll really change your mind. They stopped all this.
Jones, Little John.
Yes, he is. Better known as, he played Ray Charles. I mean, you act like he's only been in Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, historically, I don't know how many African Americans were in England at this time, but you know, whatever.
Oh, was it okay for Morgan Freeman to be in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
But he actually played like what he should play. He played like a Muslim. It made sense.
Maybe they'll make Little John a slave who was brought over. The English brought slaves over from Africa. Okay. That happened.
It's facts. You can read it in a book, Geiger.
Okay, on to December, the end of the year. I'll go first here. Bumblebee. Yeah, you heard me. This trailer has me. I hate Haley Steinfeld, and I hate the Transformers franchise.
You love the Transformers franchise. Don't lie to the people.
I don't mind the Transformers franchise. I tolerate it. But for some reason, every time I watch this trailer, I get a Steven Spielberg late 80s nostalgic coming-of-age vibe from it. And I'm going to be there opening weekend to see it. I could be wrong. This episode is really setting me up to look like a fucking idiot in about 4 months. But that's kind of the whole point of the podcast. And another honorable mention that I've been talking about forever, I don't even think this is still coming out in December because I haven't even seen a poster, but Holmes and Watson with Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, and Ray Fiennes playing Sherlock Holmes, Watson, and Professor Moriarty in a comedy movie. Again, haven't seen any piece of promotional material, so maybe it's not still happening, but I said at the beginning of the year on our 2018 preview pod that I was jacked up for this, and that this was the year of the comedy. And I've been right about the year of the comedy, I feel like. So I hope this actually comes out and can contribute.
Look, okay. Bumblebee has one problem, okay? And that's Michael Bay is not directing it. So automatically it's going to suck.
What the I see now he's a producer.
Surprisingly, just throw it straight to DVD since Michael Bay is not part of it.
Yeah. This is like a straight to like Hallmark Channel movie now.
Take out the middleman. That's actually not a bad idea. Geiger, what do you got?
I guess I'll pick Aquaman.
He does not want to do that.
Does someone have a gun to your fucking head?
I mean, yeah, superhero movies just scream summer blockbuster. If there's one that screams summer blockbuster even more, it's one that takes place under the fucking water in the ocean.
That comes out in December.
DC and the smart people in there decide to put it in fucking December when 80% of America has snow on the ground. It makes no fucking sense. They've missed a huge marketing opportunity. It's going to be great. Momoa's going to be awesome. I think the story is going to be really well done. I think James Wan's going to do a great job. But at the end of the day, we don't know who the fucking Batman is. The Batman movie is still fucked. Shazam looks fucking stupid. We don't know who our Joker is. Justice League sucked. So it's not really going to mean anything, really. I mean, you're taking out a chick. She's hot, but she's going to, she's still a whore. So I don't know. It's going to be fine, though. It's going to be a good movie. I'll see it. It's probably going to be good. But it should have taken place in the summer. Probably the biggest swing and miss marketing campaign ever by Warner Brothers, which is actually saying something.
Because they've swung and missed a lot.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Banner, what else?
All right, I'm going to end us on a high note. Mortal Engines.
Okay, so what's the high note?
I'm just kidding, guys. That movie looks terrible.
No, you're not. You wrote it down.
I know I wrote it down, but it was as a joke. I'm actually going to pick Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's animated. It actually, for a Marvel movie, it almost looks like it can rival a DC animated show or movie. So I think it's going to be really good. I'm pretty excited about it. It's got Marshala Ali voice casting in it. Liv Schreiber is another voice in it. If you haven't seen the trailers, go watch them. They've been out for about a year now. It looks really fucking good, and I think that this might be a turn in closing the gap between DC animated and Marvel animated.
I know a lot of people are pumped to finally see Miles Morales on screen. So obviously we don't have him in the MCU yet. So this is kind of a cool tip of the cap to them.
The tips are dick wet with him, I think.
Sure, it's like a second date thing, like maybe some over the pants stuff.
Right.
One thing we got a heat check on though is, dude, DC animated is unbeatable.
No, I'm not saying that this is anything near that. I think this is going to close the gap slowly. This is still the difference in like an NFL team and like the best high school team. This is like the difference in the Browns and the best high school team in the country.
So not much.
Okay, fair enough.
The high school team has a lot of seniors. They might be able to hang with the Browns.
They've got some great leadership in the locker room.
All right, anything you guys want to add before we move on?
I think I just shit the bed on December.
Like metaphorically, or did you actually shit your pants?
I plead the fifth.
That's fair. All right, on to the second part of our show after we lift, which is our protein shake. So we've kind of experimented with this last week. We're going to do it again, where basically the segment is we're just going to revisit things that we watched since the last episode. Could be new stuff. Could be old stuff. If it's Banner, who knows what the fuck he watched, because somehow he has time to watch like a complete show.
Did it again. Did it again.
God damn. So, Banner, why don't you let the people know what's in your cup, a.k.a. what did you watch since the last time we spoke?
So, immediately after we got off pod last time, I actually went and watched Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. Geiger and I are going to do a review on it. It was fucking amazing. Yeah, it was fucking amazing, guys. Look, if you haven't seen it, go see it. We'll do a review on it. We'll throw it up there. It was great.
What year is that movie from?
91,
93, something like that.
That's later than I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah. It has like the late 80s, early 90s action movie feel to it.
It seems like an 80s movie, though, but it was made in
It was definitely made in the 90s.
Yeah.
The 80s were like the 80s had 80s breath on it, you know. It was still
Yeah.
Sure.
But what I actually watched is I watched the entire season. It's called The Rain. It's a Netflix original. It's actually a Danish movie that's dubbed over in English. It doesn't take too long to get used to the dubbed overness, but it's basically about a
dubbed overness.
Dubbed overness. What? Is that not a thing?
I don't know what I would call it, but I like that you said the dubbed overness. That's a phrase.
Basically, what happens is this company releases a virus into the world, and it makes everybody basically throw up their guts and die if they touch the rain. So this brother and sister live in a bunker for 6 years. Then they come out, and it's about them trying to find their dad who supposedly can save the world. I won't say too much more about it. It's a pretty quick watch. There's 8 episodes. Each one's about 35, 40 minutes. I watched it in 2 days. It was very, very...
God damn it. Again,
boss never listens to this.
I have to tell our listeners, Banner works a full-time job. Like, I don't understand.
And I have a baby.
A newborn child. I don't understand. Although that might help. I mean, you can just take care of the baby while you watch.
Yeah, I just put my headphones on and watch it on my phone. I won't say too much more about it. I will say I was a little frustrated when it ended because the season just started getting good and then they ended it. But it did get renewed for a second season, so it's definitely worth the watch. And then I also watched a movie called Like Father on Netflix. It's got Kelsey Grammer and Kristen Bell in it.
Yeah, I saw that trailer.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've been on the Kristen Bell train way before forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Way before.
So everyone out there like, yeah, no shit, she's hot. Like, dude, I was on the Kristen Bell hype train when Veronica Mars was a thing.
It's a really good, basically she's a workaholic. She gets left at the altar and she goes on the honeymoon with her estranged dad. Really funny. It made me want to go on another cruise. Nate Thurman can appreciate that. We've been on a cruise together. A lot of fun, a lot of drinks. And then obviously I watched the first episode of Hard Knocks, following the Cleveland Browns this year. And what do you guys set the over under of us talking about the Cleveland Browns in the last 5 minutes? Definitely not 2.
Might go Super Bowl.
Maybe.
I would have said 0.5, and Vegas just crushed it.
I drink the Hard Knocks Kool-Aid. After a full season, I usually bet on them in Vegas. I'm
Oh,
like,
dude, I
Jesus
went
Christ.
so hard on the Bucks last year.
They look great.
Yeah.
They did look great. Who would have thought Jameis would have torn them fucking apart from the inside?
Yeah. So that's what I did this week. What'd you guys do this week?
Hey, I'm just gonna pick one to get us back on track since Banner picked 8. There's nothing better than seeing a movie you've never seen before and it actually being good, except one thing, and that is picking a movie in your top 10 of all time that you haven't seen in probably 3 years and having about 8 beers and watching it. So I watched Pulp Fiction this week, and not on TV. I actually watched it, and I have probably not watched it start to finish since I was in college. And man, I forgot how much of a perfect, probably one of the greatest movies ever that was. Great casting. The reason I watched it is because I was watching the roast of Bruce Willis.
Are you okay? What is
I
that?
haven't watched Pulp Fiction in a fucking while.
Yeah, you can't watch that on. I'm fine.
I'm trying to talk.
Yeah,
I'm
My
just
bad.
getting emotional.
Hornacek is like crying and snotting all over the place. Like I died last week and you're dying this week.
Yeah, so Geiger, how are you going to die next week? I'm glad you said that you didn't watch it on TV, because that seems like with every other word, literally almost that's the case, being bleeped out, it would be probably pretty frustrating.
Well, and I know it's kind of fucking weird, but I guess I'm just such a Tarantino fan, but the rape scene just doesn't do it justice on TV when Bruce Willis fucking just cuts that guy and shoots his dick off and stuff. So mine's Pulp Fiction, man. If you haven't seen it in a while, I know everyone's seen it. Great movie. Go back and rewatch it, though. It's awesome.
I legit probably haven't seen it in 15 years, so it would almost be like a first
Oh,
watch.
I felt like I was watching it again for the first time.
Nice.
Hornacek, what have you been drinking this week?
So I got 3 things. I'll make them relatively quick. I saw Mission Impossible Fallout in theaters. Fucking amazing. Oh my god, dude. Everyone who says Henry Cavill can't act, I was on that train till I saw this movie. Him and Tom Cruise kicking ass together was incredible. And there's some pretty crazy twists and turns. And it connects to several of the previous films in the franchise. And like I said, do I want to get beers with Tom Cruise? Never in a million years. But I like his movies a lot. Another thing I watched was a movie called The Stanford Prison Experiment. It's a 2015 film about this experiment. It's not a documentary. It's like an actual movie. About this professor at Stanford who conducted this experiment where over 2 weeks he got students to volunteer to pretend they were in a prison on campus. Some were guards and some were prisoners. And it's just about how, like, basically after a week, it psychologically fucked them all up. And it's interesting because Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash, is in it. And the person who plays his dad in Justice League, Billy Crudup, is the professor. And they actually have a lot of scenes together. So it's kind of cool to see them together. So I'm not sure I would recommend the Stanford Prison Experiment. It's kind of fucking heavy, but it was definitely interesting to watch. The last thing I watched, I once again returned to my doctor's office. As I said last week, you're probably thinking, Hornacek, are you dying? We don't know yet. We're still waiting on the blood work. So if I'm not on the pod, all of a sudden assume the worst. But so Dr. Dolittle was on TV in the waiting room.
God.
And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Norm Macdonald is the voice of, the dog. This is fun. I watched it for about 20 minutes, and I'm like, where the fuck is Eddie Murphy? And I realized after another 20 minutes that it was Dr. Dolittle 3, which is it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I'm just gonna tell you 3 brief notes that I wrote down about this movie. Well, the first one was that took me 40 minutes to realize Eddie Murphy wasn't in it. It wasn't one of the first 2. The second one is there's a choreographed dance that students do at a high school party, which I've never been to a high school party. Geiger, does that actually happen at them?
Usually I just pick up a chick and leave. I don't know. Sure.
And another thing that just
cool.
shows you how fucking bad this movie is. There's a joke in the film where the dog says, someone asked the dog a question and he goes, I don't know, ask the pig. And the camera doesn't cut to a pig, but it cuts to a police officer. Get it?
That's kind of funny.
All right, so never see Dr. Dolittle 3. Once again, I almost just told the doctor to give me lethal injection instead of making me finish it. All right, before we move on to the last segment of our show, Banner, did you have a question that you wanted to ask?
No, I'm good.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. Bro.
Are you sure?
Bro. I just got one question for y'all. Y'all even lift? Do you lift?
Is that your Chris Rock on Helium impression?
Yeah. What's he?
And
Is
that
he
brings
dead?
us-
He might be dead.
No, he was just in a movie with Adam Sandler.
So
that
might
brings
as well
us-
be.
To our Do You Even Lift Bra segment, where we dig up questions from around the internet and answer them on the show. We have 2 of them today. Our first one is from Derek Snyder at X Northtown Rebel X, who asks, with the news that the Academy is adding the, quote, best popular film category, end quote, does this seem like a way to acknowledge the summer blockbusters, namely comic book movies, so they don't have to be recognized in the Big Five? For those of you that don't know, it was announced this past week that the Motion Picture Association of America and the Academy are adding a category to next year's Oscars called Best Popular Film that will, of course, encompass like the not artsy-fartsy movies. So, Geiger, as someone who helped spearhead our Broscars this year because we're just kind of fucking sick of the hoity-toity, stuffy version of Hollywood that the Oscars usually represent, what do you think about this?
Yeah, not only are they adding this category, but they're also trying to make it under 3 hours, and they're starting to give a lot of Oscars during commercial breaks for like the shit we don't. Honestly, if you look at the Oscars, I could say 99% of people only care about 5 of the fucking categories. Probably now 6 after they name this one. I think this is a good idea in theory, but just close your eyes and picture the last Oscars you watched. It's all about, saving kids in India or telling you how to vote and stuff whenever they're giving their acceptance speeches. The most popular movie, I mean, like a Wahlberg Transformers movie could win that. I don't know how they're going to vote. I would rather them just have it just be a strict Twitter vote and not even let the Academy vote on it. Just have social media vote on it. I think that'd be really cool. If it's a popular vote, then let us vote. We're a democracy last time I checked, Jeff.
Is this North Korea? I don't know.
It's not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm fucking over the Academy. Anything they vote on at this point, I mean, even if I agree with it, I just don't like the process in general. So that's a good point. Banner, what do you think?
A popular movie, point blank, shouldn't it just be who made the most money that year? Should it even be a vote?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd rather vote because we just had the whole North Korea debate. But yeah, whatever.
I think it's kind of a cop-out, to be honest with you. I actually don't like that they're doing it.
Banner, you like how I went from a democracy to a dictatorship literally in one sentence?
Yeah, no, that was flawless. That was awesome.
You're like, when it hit my ear, that idea doesn't sound
Future
as
politics for Mr. Geiger.
No, I think it's a cop-out. I think that they're tired of getting all the pushback of, well, why aren't all the popular movies and these movies that the common folk like us like, a la the superhero movies or the blockbuster movies, why are they not getting acknowledged in the Big Five and only these artsy-fartsy movies are? So like, oh, well, we'll make a category where one of those has to win it. Because nobody's going to pick Lady in the Water for most popular film. So it's a cop-out in my opinion.
I think when the Oscars really lost me, and again, it may be a good movie, but a few years ago when The Artist won Best Picture, that silent French film, I was like, this has reached peak like snobbishness at this point.
You either liked it or you didn't understand it, Jeff.
There's no middle ground.
You're either stupid or you liked it. So which are you?
I would rather be stupid.
What's the line in The Other Guys? Are you deaf or you fucking
stupid?
That was a good one, Derek. And you're right. I think the other key there, Geiger, that you said is they're trying to keep it under 3 hours. Because, dude, on my Sunday, I don't want to block off like 47 months.
It's usually right after the Super Bowl, so I'm like, okay, let's go. But then after a while, I'm like, just get to it, man. Let's just get to it. Some of this shit I do not care about at all.
I totally agree. Our next question also comes to us from a Derek Richardson at Dirk_101, and he asks, movie stars like Samuel L. Jackson and Owen Wilson have catchphrases they're known for, mother effer and wow, respectively. If you were a movie star, what would your famous catchphrase be? Banner, you got anything off the top of your head?
18 out of 47 times something happens.
You do say that a lot.
I say it all the time. That's my go-to stat. 18 out of 47 times.
For those of you at home, that is 38.3%.
Look, if that's a batting average, that's pretty fucking good.
I mean, yeah, if that's what we're speaking about, then it's a Hall of Famer. It's basically Pete Rose and Tony Quinn's steroid child. Geiger, do you have a catchphrase?
So before a Friday or Saturday night, you're usually pre-drinking at a buddy's apartment or his house before you go to the bars. And somebody always goes to a 7-Eleven to buy beer, and they call and say, how much beer do you think we should drink? Should I get a 30-pack? Should I get 2? And I always text back or call back and say, it's better to pass out than run out. So that'd be mine.
Is that in the Bible anywhere?
Yeah, that's definitely words to live by.
It sounds New
Somewhere.
Testament.
I mean, the book's so big. Who really knows?
Who can even? How can we even be sure? well, I think we could probably figure it out. Mine, I have one and then like a variation of one. The first one, anytime someone brags about anything that I just really don't care about, I say, we get it, you lift. And then the other one that's kind of related to that, anytime someone revs their engine really, really loud around me, or they like have just a massive truck that no human being should ever need unless they're at like a monster truck rally, I always say something to the effect of like, that guy has a massive cock. So that both of those would probably.
That's just
basically
a
like
true statement, though.
Right.
You're just
Because
stating
if
a
someone
fact.
revs their engine, you know that they're packing a hammer. Clearly, that's why I drive a Honda Civic that's not souped up in the slightest. Really drive that. So if you see a Honda Civic, don't think that could be Hornacek, because it's not. All right, guys. Before we let our fans go, any parting thoughts? Banner, what do you want to leave the people with?
Just spade and neuter your children? No.
Your children?
No, your animals.
No, you already said children. Print it.
Print it, take it to the press.
Geiger, do you have any better advice than performing surgery on their kids?
Did you guys know that the Meg's dick is bigger than Jaws?
Yo,
And
I'm
Jaws is
super
big.
excited to see that shit. I'm definitely going on Friday.
Like, just the Megalodon's dick is bigger than Jaws.
Like the whole Jaws shark, or just Jaws' dick?
No,
just
the whole shark.
The whole Jaws shark is not as big as the Meg's dick.
Wow.
Even the tip. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Somebody smoking weed listening to us and be like, man, that's fucking insane.
On that note, we have been the Bro Force Squad podcast. For our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger, and shut the fuck up, Banner, and the mad scientist, Brian Banner, who likes to sneeze when I'm talking, I'm the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. I'm just kidding. We're best friends.
No,
Be sure to
we're not.
follow us on Twitter at Broforce Squad. Subscribe to us on iTunes and Spotify, as well as YouTube, Broforce Squad, 3 words. And check out everything that we're doing on our website, broforcesquad.com. Till next time, we'll catch you later. But is the Meg's dick bigger than Shaq's?
You motherfuckers need some Zyrtec or something. When I'm talking, our fans want to listen, not hear you sneeze.